Okay, so video 3, and here I'll look at keying techniques, or how to generate a matte or cutting out the foreground by an automatic technique. So I have these two very short sequences. They're each 5 frames. So this is the background, and this is the foreground. So at least when you see the foreground, you can see that something is wrong with the dimensions of the image, and it's because this imagery is made with an anamorphic lens, or at least it's stored with non-square pixels. So what I can do here is I can right-click my image sequence, and I can go to Interpret Footage, Main, and in here we have this section on the bottom called Other Options, where there is the pixel aspect ratio settings, and I'll set this to anamorphic, and you can see that because I have this button on here at the bottom of the viewport, it will pop to the new dimension. So essentially what it's doing is it makes every single pixel twice as wide. So I need to do the same thing for the background here. Interpret Footage, Main, go to the bottom and set it to anamorphic 2. I guess this is VistaVision or something, or it might actually be that I'm overdoing it here. I'm not totally sure of how wide Elizabeth's shoe is supposed to be, but if I set this to maybe 1.5, let's see if that looks better. 1.5, there we go. No, I think the other thing was better, so boom, back, set this to 2. It could be that it should be a different number, but this is the way it works here in After Effects. Of course we could scale the image instead or something like that, but we'll use this, and now you know how it works. So if I press play, you can see I have a 5 frame sequence of her driving a car. So frequently what happens when films are shot today is that there's a first unit that shoots all the characters and etc. at the studio, and then there's a second unit, maybe multiple second units, that travel around the world and shoots all the other materials. So for instance here, where she has to drive, I think it's some place in Scotland or something like that, it would be expensive to send off all of the stars and catering and makeup artists, etc. Just to shoot a short sequence of her driving down the road. So what they do instead is they send off a much cheaper second unit that just shoots this footage on the location, and then they shoot the blue screen in this case, or green screen, at the studio to match up with the background. And if you have the background first, you can light your foreground scene so that it will match nicely. Anyway, what we want to do is create a composite here of the two. So I'll just drag one down here, and you can see when I drag it here, it will create a composition of the same dimensions, etc. So I just need to add the foreground in front, and then to key this, I will use a very effective keyer called Key Light. So I go to Keying, and I grab Key Light, and I'll drag that onto the front. Also do it here, and then I get this. And what I can do is I'll just set this to source, because otherwise I might get like flickering when I try to select the color. So I'll go screen color, and then I'll just pick up the color around here, so you can see I get a blue color, and then I switch this to final result, and you can see that it creates transparency. So I just turn this off and go to alpha channel for this thing, you can see that it creates a mask based on the blue color. And one of the things that are very nice with the key light key is that if you have a fairly well lit key background, it will do amazing things with regards to handling shadows and, in this case, reflections, which are otherwise terribly difficult to handle. This could also be done in a different way, so I could have the background on still, and I could just go to here and go inside mask, outside mask. I could go to screen matte, so that way I can change the different elements. Now this is very simple and it works, so I'll just do this. One thing that you could discuss was that it tends to get like this purplish, greenish color here. One of the things that happen when you do keying is that you get color spill. So the color of the background, which is usually quite dominant in the picture, will tend to bleed into the foreground. And to get rid of this, you do a despill method. So if I go to the despill bias here and I change the color, just make this really saturated, like here, and you can see how that changes the spill effect. And I can also do edge color correction, so I can do color correction for just the edge. So I can make this more saturated. You can see I get this reddish color, or I can turn this down so I get less saturation. Color suppression for the edge. We could suppress blue. Just set this back to there. Oh, sorry, there. And set the saturation back to 0. And then this might be very subtle. Suppress blue. You can see it changes the color just slightly. And this is the suppression amount. Right, so that is also how it works. And you can do color balancing as well. So you can rotate the coloring of the. But we have suppressed this quite a bit, so you can see that's difficult. Oh, there you go. So you can see you can change the coloring of the bleed, but it actually works very well just with the default. Let's just see, like so. We are 90% there. Then when doing keying like this, okay, let's just see the sequence actually. You can see that although a little bit repetitive, you get the idea of her driving the car, and if you're just seeing that for half a second in film, and you will probably focus on her facial expression anyway, you'll probably not notice unless you're looking for it. One thing that might be annoying here is that she's in focus and the background is in focus. That's not really realistic. So I could go to blur and sharpen and grab what's called camera lens blur and put it on the background. And you can see now this thing just blurs the background a little bit. I can turn it off and on by just clicking this FX. So you can see just blurring this slightly helps just a little bit, and we could also use like we could create a blur map here, because it should probably be blurred more here than there. So if I go and create a new layer, solid, make this black. Okay, yes, put it down there, and then on this I will draw a shape. This is essentially what rotoscoping is about, drawing things. So let's see if this works. Oh, sorry, my bad. I need to create a shape layer here instead. There we go. There we go. and then I'll draw. Boop, there we go. Just to see just that layer, and we should have a fill of white in that one, and then I just do a different one that is do that black. Okay, and then let's see, there, we change the ordering. And then what I'll do is I pre-compose this. Yep, and then I'll blur that. Just box blur is fine. Like this. There, repeat edge pixels. And maybe that black one shouldn't be quite black. Maybe it should be a grayish color. So let's see here. Go on and put that to just a tad gray. So it will still be a little bit good. And then I go to this and I say, just unsolo this layer. Sorry, I was soloing this. And then what I'll do is I'll turn this off, and you can see right now it blurs it. I'll turn off the blur quite a bit. You can see it blurs it equally here and here. So if I use the layer here to go there, so you can see now the mask will control where the blur is more or less intensive, and of course the blur is over the top. So something like this. We could have used a gradient as well. So it will make the blur slightly heavier to one area than another. So that's another way of doing this. So let's just go and play. And also we might want to change the outdoor color to something slightly more blue. Here we get into a little bit of color correction. Just go color offset, for instance. Put that on the background layer and give it a little bit more blue. You can see you can give it a lot more blue, but just want it to be a little bit, you know, less is more. There we go. And there we have a sequence. So that is an ultra quick introduction to keying and how to create masks in After Effects. This thing with the pre-composition, that is actually important. I can't remember if it's actually important here, but in very many places you need to pre-compose vector tools for it to register as an image component for the layer underneath. It's just a thing you get used to, and that's how it works. So yeah. Well. So that was it for this this little piece. I'll just find another one here. Sorry, I have one here, and we'll go back, and you can see we have, this is just still images. Oop. Come back to me. Here. Okay. And there we go. So I'll make a new I'll make a new composition with Merlin. There. And I'll put the background in there as well. And again, we can use the key light. Key light. Then put it on the foreground. Grab the green color, and bam, it's there. And you can see you get really nice details where you have the hair and stuff. Now, you might be in a different compositing package and not have a key light available, although it is very widespread. It's available in both After Effects and Nuke and a couple of other places as well. But there's also, you can also use something like a linear color key. This is very much less advanced, but you can see how it works here. So you get a key color, the same idea. And typically with less advanced keys, what you can see is that it has a hard time removing spill, handling thin elements, and and maybe it'll eat away too much. So you can see the matching tolerance. If I make that bigger, it will remove more of the green, but you can see it really, this is difficult to make it like really work. Key colors or key classes. You can use chroma to key instead, so it's you can almost get something that is tolerable, but it's really difficult to get it to work very well. This reminds you perhaps of what it was like looking at the weather on television a few years ago, because this is very much what you'd see out of a live signal manipulation like this. There's also a standard color key. There we go, same idea. Grab color, turn up the tolerance, thinning of the edge, softening. Yeah, well, you can see that they're not really working as well as something like key light. Here we can grab colors and deselect colors, etc. Yeah, well, use key light if you have the chance anyway. One thing you might want to actually note is that now this will actually key nicely, but what you can also do to a layer is that if you don't have the option of keying it for some reason, you can just draw a mask on it. So this is what's, if this was a moving image, it would be rotoscoping. Right now it's just drawing a mask. So you can see this way it draws a mask around it, and that mask is actually available on the layer. And you can do things like you can feather the mask, etc. You can crop it inwards or expand it outwards. Yeah, well, that was it for now. So see you on the next video.